Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This video is for you guys that already have the Savur retrieval device and maybe you let your rod go overboard and you had to get it back out of the bottom of the lake. So this is going to go over how to rearm your retrieval device. If you've already got this retrieval device on your rod, have a couple spares laying around, have a couple of these rearm kits. We're actually going to change the float color as well, so they come out with some new floats, and I'll go over that. Basically, we're going to take the old one off, put the new one on, and rearm the system. All right, guys, let's get right to it. Okay, so here's what I'm going to be using today. I've got my impact drill here. I've got the old spool, and we're actually going to be replacing the float on the spool. They have changed this system, and mainly it relates to the cover, kind of the lid that protects water from getting inside of here. Unwanted water, that is, right? So I believe the idea behind this new system is that you're not going to have as many accidental discharges this way. So as you can see, this float is just a little bit longer, I suppose you would say. Just a little bit longer. If you put those about 1/8 of an inch, and that's to accommodate this new lid system. Okay, so we've got the old spool. We're going to take this float off, replace it with the yellow one. We're going to rearm it with our new spring. We're going to rearm it with our new spring and our new bobbin. Okay, so we've got our Phillips head screwdriver, spool, and this is the second little appearance on this channel. I'm very impressed with this outdoors edge knife here. I actually went and changed the blade out today. It was getting a little bit dull, but it's as easy as that. So in order to drop a new blade in, boom, there you go. You saw how easy that was. So, and they come with several extra blades. So I'm going to use that instead of my box knife because this thing is just as good. All right, and then we have some super glue. That is going to be to attach the new float onto the spool. So that's what we're going to be using today. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. So what we want to do, you see my old spool here, it's still good. But I want to put a new float on it. I'm using this as kind of a color coordinating system, so I'm going to know that the yellow is my flipping rod. Okay, so I'm just going to cut into this, and then I'm going to peel it off. And there's really, so there's the old float. You can see that, it's trash. You can see there's just a little bit left over of that foam. So I'm just going to go in there and kind of peel it off as best I can. Always be careful when we're working with sharp objects. Just clean that up a little bit. Okay, then we're going to put this on here, and we're going to use a little bit of super glue. Boom. There we go. So you just gotta flush it up with that blue part of the spool there. That's another foam material, but it'll just butt right up against that. You'll be good to go. Now I did forget one thing. I want to get like a toothpick or a paper clip. I want to get a toothpick or a paper clip or something like that. That way I can feed my braided line into the interior of this Savur retrieval device. On the inside of this housing, I'll show you a close-up here in a second, but on the inside of this housing there is a place for you to run your line through. Okay, if you can see that braided line, there's a little, I don't know what to call it, but there is a hole that comes through the top of this thing, and then there's a hole on the outside of the housing right here that you can use to like push your line back through the inside, so you can loop it around this little block in here. If you can see that, hopefully you can see what I'm talking about in there. You can see how that line's tied down on there. But that's what the paper clip or the toothpick will be used for, is just to push the braided line. You know, you'll get it down through that hole, but in order to push it back through there so you can grab a hold of it and then tie your knot. So we'll go ahead and cut this old line off, and then we'll feed our new line back through there. Okay, so got that old line out. Then we can go ahead and take this out as well. I'll go ahead and use my impact for that. You'll want to hold on to that little plastic piece as well. That's what keeps it from going through the salt bobbin. Okay, so I'm going to give myself a little bit of line here to work with. And then I'm going to tape it back down. Okay. So, what I'm going to do, wet my line a little bit, but I'm going to go down. I'm going to go down through here. Okay, now I can see it through this little hole in the housing. Okay. That usually it doesn't happen. Usually it doesn't work that quickly. Usually you have to make a few tries before you actually get it to come back through there, but that worked out perfect. That shows you exactly how you use this toothpick. So you just feed the line down through here, push it through here, and then you can go ahead and make your knot. Okay. Okay, so now we have our connection to the rod. Okay, so now you have 50-60 feet of line. I think I measured right about 60 feet of line. I did go ahead and re-spool this thing. So let's go ahead and get our salt bobbin ready. be super careful with this because I don't want to break it in the installation process. Once that tablet breaks, then this screw will no longer hold it in place. You know, once these are broke, this screw will just go right down the center. So basically the salt material is keeping this solid enough to where this keeps it in place. So we'll go ahead and pull our tape off of here. We'll snug this down. Nope. Okay. Put your spring in here. Get this nice and tight. Sometimes easier said than done. Okay. Now, we'll take our salt bobbin, put it in there. Now I want to start this by hand, okay? Just to make sure we're good to go here. Okay. Then I'll go ahead and snug this down. Cool. There's our new yellow float. And it doesn't have to be all the way tightened down. On some of the Savur rods that I've purchased, you can see a little bit of that blue exposed through here, so I don't think that's a really big deal either way. But that's what that looks like. And then now you have this white disc, and you want to do the dot up. Push that down in there. And then put your black cover over it. Okay guys, that's it. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. That was super easy. We not only rearmed our system, but we even changed the float out, and that probably only took me about 20 minutes or so. So if you guys have any questions about the Savur retrieval device, shoot me a message, leave a comment in the comment section below. Go check those guys out at SavurOutdoors.com. Check them out on Facebook. If you're trying to make sure that you don't lose a rod ever again, go get yourself one of these kits. I appreciate you guys coming along for the ride. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.